Shaq discovers his childhood friend is homeless. Next day, he gets the shock of his life. The Newark winter bit hard as Shaquille O'Neal's heated Escalade crawled through the snow-covered streets of his childhood neighborhood. At 51, the NBA legend was back in New Jersey for a TNT broadcasting gig, but had insisted on taking this detour, a pilgrimage to the Boys and Girls Club where his journey had begun decades ago. "Just park here, Mike," Shaq instructed his driver, "and I want to walk around a bit." Despite the biting cold, Shaq felt warmth spreading through his chest as he approached the familiar brick building. This place had saved him, kept him off streets that swallowed so many of his childhood friends. Before the championships, the movie deals, the platinum albums, and the business empire, he was just a gangly kid from Newark with a single mother trying to keep him on the right path. As he neared the entrance, Shaq noticed a man huddled in a recessed doorway across the street. Something about the figure's posture, even bundled in layers of tattered clothes, triggered a memory. Shaq hesitated, then changed direction, crossing through the slush toward the doorway. "Excuse me," Shaq called softly, not wanting to startle the man. The figure looked up, revealing a weathered face with hollow cheeks and tired eyes. For a moment, there was no recognition, just the wary gaze of someone accustomed to being ignored or hassled. Then those eyes widened. "Little Shaq, man, is that really you?" The voice was raspy but unmistakable. Shaq felt the world tilt beneath him. "Marcus Washington?" The man struggled to his feet, his movements stiff from cold and age. "In the flesh. What's left of it, anyway?" He attempted a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Marcus Washington, Shaq's childhood best friend, the lightning-quick point guard from the neighborhood courts, who many had said was destined for greater basketball glory than Shaq himself. The boy who'd taught Shaq his first crossover dribble. The teammate who'd celebrated with him when they won their first youth tournament. "What happened, man?" Shaq asked, shock making his voice barely audible. Marcus shrugged, a gesture of resignation that spoke volumes. "Life, man. Bad choices. Worse luck." They stood in awkward silence, two men whose paths had diverged so dramatically that the universe seemed to be playing some cosmic joke. Shaq, the multi-millionaire celebrity with homes across the country. Marcus, without even a roof over his head. "How long have you been—" Shaq couldn't finish the sentence. "On the streets? About 3 years this time around." Marcus looked away. "Been in and out of shelters since my mom passed in 2015. Lost my apartment when the factory closed. Been doing odd jobs, but nothing sticks." The bitter wind cut between them, and Shaq noticed Marcus trying to suppress a shiver. "Come on," Shaq said suddenly. "Let's get some food. Talk properly." Marcus hesitated. "I don't need charity, Shaq." "This ain't charity. This is me catching up with my old point guard, the guy who made me look good before I even knew what I was doing." A hint of the old Marcus flickered in his eyes. "You always needed help looking good." 20 minutes later, they sat in a corner booth of a local diner. The waitress had done a double take at Shaq, but maintained her professionalism. Marcus had ordered cautiously at first, just coffee, until Shaq insisted he get whatever he wanted. Now they were waiting for their food, bridging decades of separation with careful conversation. "Your mom," Shaq asked softly. "Gone. Cancer." Marcus stared into his coffee. "Your mom, Lucille, was always good to me." "She's good. Living in one of my places in Florida now." Shaq studied his friend. "Your kids." Pain flashed across Marcus's face. "Don't know where they are. Their mother moved to California after we split. Lost touch when I couldn't keep up with child support." As their food arrived, a towering burger for Shaq, steak and eggs for Marcus, Shaq learned more about the path that had led his friend here. College basketball scholarship squandered after a knee injury, marriage too young, drinking problem that cost him jobs. Small criminal record that made finding work even harder. Remember when we used to talk about both making it to the NBA? Marcus asked, a sad smile playing on his lips. You were going to be the center. I was going to be the point guard. Unstoppable combination. Shaq nodded, his throat tight. You were better than me back then. Quicker. Smarter with the ball. Maybe so, but you had something else, man. Determination, focus. You knew exactly what you wanted and you never let anything get in your way. Marcus shook his head. I let everything get in my way. When they finished eating, Shaq reached for his wallet. Where are you staying tonight? There's a shelter on Clinton Avenue if I can get there before they fill up. Shaq pulled out several $100 bills, but Marcus's expression stopped him. I told you, I don't want charity. It's not charity, Shaq insisted. It's a loan. Between friends. Marcus stared at the money, conflict visible on his face. Finally, he spoke. I want to earn it, Shaq. I've still got my dignity, even if I don't have much else. Shaq considered this, then nodded slowly. An idea was forming, one that would require calls, arrangements, and some faith. Okay, I hear you. But at least let me get you a hotel room for tonight, a real bed, hot shower. Tomorrow, we'll talk about how you can earn your way forward. Marcus finally agreed. As they parted outside the hotel Shaq had arranged, he pressed his business card into Marcus's hand. Be ready at 9 a.m. tomorrow. My driver will pick you up. As Shaq's Escalade pulled away, he was already on the phone, setting his plan in motion. His mind raced with possibilities, connections to leverage, and a determination to help the friend who had once helped shape his game, and in many ways, his life. At precisely 9 a.m. the next day, Shaq's driver pulled up to the hotel. Marcus emerged looking transformed, freshly showered, clean-shaven, wearing the new clothes Shaq had sent over that morning. He still carried himself with the wariness of a man who expected the world to pull the rug out from beneath him at any moment. The driver took Marcus to a gleaming office building in downtown Newark. Inside, Shaq waited in a conference room with 3 other people: his business manager, his foundation director, and a woman Marcus didn't recognize. Marcus, Shaq greeted him with a firm handshake. Thanks for coming, Marcus nodded, eyeing the others cautiously. What's this about, Shaq? Have a seat. Shaq gestured to an empty chair. I want to introduce you to some people. This is Karen, my business manager. This is Dwayne, who runs my foundation. And this, he indicated the woman, is Tamika Robinson, director of the Boys and Girls Club where we used to play. Recognition flickered across Marcus's face. The old club. It's still running. Better than ever, Tamika said with a warm smile. Though our basketball court has seen better days. Shaq leaned forward. Marcus, you once told me you wanted to earn your way. I respect that, so I'm not offering charity. I'm offering opportunity. Over the next hour, Shaq outlined his proposal. The Boys and Girls Club needed a basketball coach and mentor. The position came with a modest but stable salary, plus an apartment in a building recently purchased by Shaq's real estate company. In exchange, Marcus would work with kids, teach them basketball, and most importantly, share his life lessons, both the triumphs and the hard falls. These kids need someone who understands their struggles, Shaq explained. Someone who's been where they are, and also where they might end up if they make the wrong choices. Marcus listened silently, his expression unreadable. When Shaq finished, Marcus finally spoke. Why me? You could hire anyone. Professional coaches, former NBA players. Why trust a homeless guy you haven't seen in 30 years? Because you were the first person who ever believed I could be great, Shaq answered simply. Before scouts, before coaches, before anyone. You saw something in that clumsy kid I was. You pushed me to be better. Shaq slid a contract across the table. This isn't a handout. You'll work hard. You'll be accountable. You'll have to stay clean and be a role model. It won't be easy. Marcus stared at the paper, hands trembling slightly. I've made a lot of mistakes, Shaq. So have I, Shaq replied. The difference is I had people who gave me second chances. Now I'm paying that forward. 3 months later, Shaq returned to Newark for the reopening ceremony of the newly renovated basketball court at the Boys and Girls Club, now named the Shaq and Marcus Court. He arrived early, slipping in through a side door to watch unnoticed. What he saw brought tears to his eyes. Marcus was running drills with a group of kids, moving with renewed energy and purpose. His instructions were firm but encouraging. When a small boy missed a layup and looked dejected, Marcus knelt down to his level, demonstrating the proper technique with patience. That's exactly how you taught me, Shaq said, finally making his presence known. Marcus looked up, a genuine smile spreading across his face, the first real one Shaq had seen since their reunion. Had to start with the basics. Just like we did. The kids swarmed Shaq immediately, but he made sure to keep Marcus central to the event that followed. As they cut the ribbon together, Shaq turned to the crowd of community members, reporters, and excited children. When people ask about my success story, they usually talk about coaches and scouts who discovered me, but they don't know about Marcus Washington, the first person who ever believed in my game. Sometimes our greatest influences are the quiet ones who never make the headlines. Later, as the event wound down, Marcus pulled Shaq aside. I've been meaning to tell you something. I found my kids. Tamika helped me track them down in California. We're talking again. My daughter's even planning to visit next month. The news hit Shaq with unexpected emotion. This, even more than the successful program or Marcus's recovery, was the victory that mattered most. But do you know, Marcus said quietly, when you found me that day, I was ready to give up. Completely. Didn't see the point anymore. He looked around at the bustling community center, at the kids still playing on the new court. Never expected to have purpose again. Shaq nodded, understanding the weight of what wasn't being said. Sometimes the biggest assists in life come when you least expect them. As they watched the kids play, Shaq reflected on how his life had come full circle. He had achieved fame and fortune beyond what either of them could have imagined on these same courts decades ago. But this moment, helping restore his friend's dignity and purpose, somehow felt more significant than any championship ring. You know what the real shock is, Marcus said suddenly. What's that? Finding out that beneath all that success and fame, you're still just Shaq from Newark. Still the same kid who couldn't dribble with his left hand until I taught you. Shaq laughed, a deep rumble from his chest. Some things never change. And some things do, Marcus replied, looking at his new life with clear eyes. Thank God for that.